Hello, friends. Welcome to Take Two for this Wednesday, the 13th of May, 2026. I'm Jeannie, and I'm so glad you've decided to come along for the ride on this hump day. First things first, I'd like to wish a very, very happy birthday. Many blessings to be poured down on my good friend, my business partner, and my radio husband, Big Tom. Happy birthday, Tom. We're thinking about you today. I'd like to share with you a little story that I just heard recently from an old friend named Cheryl. Now, Cheryl got married about, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, and she was very close with her mom. And her mom sadly passed away about a year or so after she got married. But she said she was remembering as she was going, finally taking the time to go through some of her mother's belongings that she never still has gotten around to give away or to dole out. She said that while she was going through it, she came across, wrapped in plastic from the dry cleaners, the dress that she wore when she was the mother of the bride. And she said, Cheryl said that she went with her mother. She fondly remembers going into, this was actually friends in New York. And she said she remembers going into Manhattan and going to Macy's and going to some of the other fancy stores, Saks Fifth Avenue and all that, because she went to something super special. And she said that she picked out the loveliest pale pink dress as the mother of the bride. And she remembered so fondly they had a beautiful day in the city together, and they had lunch and did all this and bought this dress and brought it back. And she remembers her wearing it to the wedding. She only wore it that one time and immediately had it dry cleaned. And apparently it had been sitting with this wrapping all these many years later and still had never been used again. But it was such a fond memory for her. And she said, Jeannie, while I was going through mom's things and I was going through all, she said it wasn't too hard to give away knickknacks and things like that because she had tons of them. She was very sentimental. She said, but somehow when I got to that dress, that mother of the bride dress, she said, I just could not bring myself to sell it or give it away. She said, it was just so hard to do. I said, well, what did you end up doing? She said, well, she said, I had quite a few things that I wanted to post on a local sale thing on Facebook. So I went ahead and did it. And she said, I asked a ridiculous amount of money for this dress, probably what we paid for it back all those years ago. She says, so I went ahead and I just advertised it a little bit in the back of my mind, hoping maybe it wouldn't sell and I'd have to hold on to it and keep it. She said, but wouldn't you know it? She said, almost immediately someone contacted me and said that dress would be perfect for me to get married in. And it was perfect, her size and all of that. So she met up with this woman and she sold her the dress, and she said she remembers her hands sweating as she was holding the plastic of the dress. But the woman was so thrilled, and she said, it's so perfect. And she said, it's exactly the sort of dress I wanted, and I'm so excited to be getting married in it. She said, and I promise you I'll take pictures of my wedding and I'll send them to you. So Cheryl let the dress go, and that was it. And she went home and cried and cried and cried. But here's the thing, boys and girls. She took the step to go ahead and release it and let it go. She said, so you can't take the memories away from me. And certainly of all those wonderful wedding pictures. She said, which nobody knew was that when her mom went with her and they bought the dress for her mom had just been diagnosed with an illness that she knew was going to take her life within a year or so. But she didn't tell anybody until later because she didn't want this disrupted. So she said, so that makes this all the more precious, this whole thing about that day we had in the city buying the dress and the wedding and so forth. But see, those memories cannot be taken away. The dress may be gone, but the memories remain. So boys and girls, it got me really thinking, are there things I'm clutching on to, stuff I'm got? Now, there's nothing wrong with having mementos. There's nothing wrong with having special things that have special meaning to you. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying get rid of everything you own. But what I am saying is sometimes we just hold on to things and hold on to things. She'd never wear that dress. She and her mother were not the same size. It wouldn't have worked on her. She had nobody to pass that on to. She had sons. So she said, I'll never be able to use this dress. So she said, I did have to let it go. But more importantly than just letting it go and getting the money for it, she said, all the more important was what it did to me. What did this situation do to me? It caused me to realize that the memories were never going to go anywhere, even though the stuff leaves. So if there's things in your life, boys and girls, that you need to just get rid of some stuff, remember the memories will always be there. The good memories will remain, even if the stuff is gone. Now go ahead and be a blessing to somebody today, because you may end up being the only one who is. And remember, be a blessing so that memory always stays with them as well. Listen, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, please do so. Jeanne Sigler, JeanneSigler. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell. Give me a thumbs up, helps with the algorithms, and leave a comment. And also follow me on X. It's the little @ Jeanne, NY Woman, at JeanneNY Woman, and hit follow. You could comment there as well. Don't forget to tune into my program, Through the Eyes of a New York Woman. And that is every Saturday on ultimateoldiesradio.com at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, AM and PM. And an encore presentation on Sundays at 4 Central, 5 Eastern, AM and PM. This week's a really fun show. I'm doing a salute to the movie American Graffiti. So make sure you tune in. All right, you be blessed. Take care. And remember, the memories can remain even though the stuff is gone. I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.